Alright, timestamp, it is July 27th, 2026. It's almost 3 a.m. Took a little nap this afternoon. We were going to go to George, and by the time we got done, I filled my coffee. It's done finally. We went long on our mom call, and then okay, so we're sitting at the bar. Pix and I were talking to her mom, and we're talking, money, battle plans, all that kind of stuff. And the kids are coming in and out and cooking and grabbing coffee and stuff like that. And we could tell, much like, what, Doodle? I'm in here. We could tell, much like, to me it was reminiscent of The Incredibles, when Alan and Bob are having a discussion, and Dash and Violet, using their own secret powers, have kind of made their way into the living room, and they realize it's time for a family talk. So, Dash, you too. So we had a family discussion about what we're planning on doing, what we don't want to happen. Basically going through the whole Nate Ford alphabet of plans. And by then it was pretty late in the day. Not like, 8 p.m., but like 2, 3 p.m. And the idea of going to George, mowing, I can step over you, but when you start moving while I'm stepping over you, complications will ensue. I know, I feel terrible about it. No, I really don't. Sammy has eaten 3 bowls of dog food today, cradling the bowl between his front paws, basically not allowing anyone else to get at it. I've been sneaking food to the other dogs. So we have 3 dogs here now. Sammy! They're allowed to drink water. Food insecurities are real. So yeah, I put like maybe a third of a bowl, worth of kibble in the bowl. And then we've got some of that, looks like hamburger. We get that in for Tanner, the older guy, because he's like 14. He has a harder time eating kibble. Sometimes a little too crunchy, too hard. So, and every dog likes that. It's like, it's like burger meat. So Sammy was protecting the bowl, and I just opened a couple of packs of that and spread it across the floor and let the other 2 dogs eat that. Figured you can't guard everything. Oh no, no one else can eat, but the food's spread out everywhere. What do I do? Yeah, deal with it. It's going to be a problem long term, though. I may have to get like a trough bowl or something like that. But he puked earlier. He ate so much that the struggle is real. I just opened a big old bag of kibble. Nobody's going hungry. We got this. But yeah, we had to have, not had to, but it was just smart to actually have a discussion with the offspring and let them know, here's where we are, this is what we're trying to do, this is what we need to get done, this is what we need from you. Because I know Tiny was talking about going out and getting a job, and yeah, okay, cool. The more time you don't spend here, i.e. at that work, yes, you can bring in a paycheck, but you also aren't contributing as much here, which slows down us getting this stuff done, which slows us down wrapping up and getting out of here. So, there's the $100, and then there's the every week you're working another job is, 2 or 3 days added to the time that we're here, if that makes sense. Even one day, if you're working for a year, that's maybe 3 or 4 months that you've added to us not being able to get out of here, to wrap up this stage of the operation. And I think there was an understanding on it. Because realistically, if we can sell George, which again, we've got 2 people that are interested in the place before we didn't even mention we were selling it. They approached us and said, hey, if you're planning on selling it, please let me know before you put it on the market. Which most people won't do that unless they actually are serious about it. My only concern here is that they're going to try and lowball me like really bad. But my way around that, number one, I'm not asking full market because the house is banged up and I know that. But also, if I don't hear a number that satisfies me, I can list it. You know what I mean? I actually have a good friend, a good friend who's a realtor. So it won't be that hard. I can call her and say, hey, we need to list our house. Can you help me out? As is, we're looking for, this is kind of our lowest, if you can get more, that's great, but, and she's been doing this for 10 plus years, she has a clue about it. Oh, I found another bag of, going through some of the stuff out there, my toys. I found another bag of the Russian figures that I was talking about the other day, and it's from a company called Tehnolog. Tehnolog. It almost looks like the word technology, but without the C. To me, I look at the company name and I'm like, did you try to spell technology and fail? But it's Russian. So, but this is I had a bag of probably like 10. I probably got like 2 packs of them because there's like 5 or 6 in a pack, and I think they called it Tribal People or something like that. And I pulled out one just because I love having small toys around. I'm just that kind of dork. But Tribal People, they come in green. Yeah, this is... He just has that almost like try-hard shaman kind of look going on. Like I'm expecting him to actually say boo. But he kind of tickled me. Just wonderfully ridiculous. Great sculpt, though. These are just really cool. But yeah, they're like $5 to $8 when I was buying them. They may have gone up. It was like $5 to $8 a bag, if you could find them. And again, there's usually like in between 4 and... Actually, some of the packs have like 8 or 10, but those are usually a little bit smaller. Usually like 5 or 6. They're kind of Army Men size. But we're not talking like Warhammer detail. Don't get me wrong, but they're fun if you're into like Army Man scale figures for gaming or whatnot. Again, Tehnolog. Not sponsored or anything like that. Just when I have found cool stuff, I like to share it. But yeah, it's just ridiculous and fun. Just hanging out over here with my Gladiator. It's quite cool, in my opinion. I've always got a ridiculous amount of small toys on my desk. But yeah, so we had a meeting with the kids and let them know what we were thinking and all that. And we're gonna try again tomorrow, i.e. Monday. Well, today, technically. But I don't know that that's going to happen because I just looked at the weather report, which I'm certain that Pix did not do, because she might not have suggested the we'll go tomorrow. 'Cause it looks like rain all day. 4 a.m. and this is here in Pasco County, but if it's wet here, it's probably wet there too. 4 a.m. 33%, 5 a.m. 61%, 6 a.m. 80%. Pardon, 7%, 7%, 7 a.m. 84%, 8 a.m. 7. God, I had some sauerkraut. 8 a.m. 79%. It's going to be very wet. One of these 6 entries will hit. You know what I mean? Like burp with hiccups mixed up in it. That's unpleasant, actually. But I've been working in the garage. Pix was working in the master bedroom. I have hiccups. She found some photographs, which is pretty cool. Because we're still finding stuff. You know, we're still looking for some stuff. You know, the car titles and some other, like, can I get them through other ways? Yeah, but we were hoping to find, like, the originals and stuff like that. They're here somewhere. Most likely in a Ziploc baggie, concealed. There's pocket watches missing. There's some other, like, family heirloomy things, smaller things, which makes it tricky because my dad being an engineer who has a damaged brain, he's gone, you know, his own version of insane, being paranoid about a burglar breaking in every day, us breaking in. Things got concealed, on top of the fact that they're hoarders. So, good Lord. You know, every time we turn around, we're finding something interesting. Like a week ago, Tiny found a box of bullets. And when I say a box of bullets, I mean one of the small metal army ammo hampers. And I think there were like over 2,000 pistol rounds in it. Hidden behind some boxes of some stuff. Because, yeah, everybody has that in their house, right? Normal day. You know what I mean? Okay, I don't know which one of you pups just made that happen, but oof. I'm gonna guess it was you and your three bowls of dog food. Your puppy farts are lethal. My God. But yeah, no. She found some photographs, and some of them she knew what they were, and some of them she brought out because she's like, I'm not sure who I'm looking at here. But some really, really great stuff here. That is my grandmother in the middle. The taller lady is my Aunt Betty, and the short lady, probably 10 or 12 years old there, is my mom. This is my grandmother and her 2 daughters, which I think my mom is probably like 10 or 12 here, because Aunt Betty would probably, I think she's like 4 to 6 years older than my mom, so she'd be 16 to 18 in that shot. And that is my grandmother. And I don't know if my Aunt Betty's even still alive because I haven't been able to get a hold of her or whatnot. But if she isn't, then all 3 of these people are gone now. Which that's kind of a thought, you know. My grandma died 20 years ago. She made it to 90-something. And was, you know, pretty banged up towards the end. But, you know, she ran a couple of marathons. She was a single mom during World War II. Yeah, that's easy. She found my parents' wedding pictures, which I've never seen these before. And this is very cool for me because I think, because it would make sense, because when they got married and everything, I think that the two people here on this side are my dad's parents. And if that is true, up until today, I didn't even know what they looked like. They apparently held me as a baby, but they died when I was like 1 or 2, so I don't remember them. So if that is them, and I'm willing to bet it is, because on the other side is my mom's mom and stepfather, that's probably my dad's parents, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Now, I know they didn't have a big wedding because they were trying to schedule it and everything, and the entire family, their anniversary was right around Thanksgiving. It was November 29th, I think. They were trying to figure out a date when everybody could actually get together for it, and they wanted to get married. They already knew they wanted to get married. It was just, they didn't really want to put it off a year or 6 years or anything like that. And I guess my mom's mom suggested, well, the entire family's here. Why don't we just set it up for next week or something and just get it out of the way. You guys are, hell bent on getting married, which is cool. You have everyone's blessing on this. Let's just, make it happen. Everybody's here. We don't have to reschedule everybody trying to travel to town and all that. So I know it wasn't like a big affair, but family. So that kind of, to me, narrows down the idea that that's my other grandparents. The shorter ones are my Aunt Betty and my Uncle Russ. Russ passed many years ago now. And the other gentleman in this picture is my great uncle Paul, who I've mentioned him before. The idea that when he gave you a hug, it was in fact a bear hug. Because you can probably tell by the photograph, that is a very big man. He's like 6'3", and this has not been photoshopped. When he gave you a hug, you either needed a chiropractor and now don't, or you didn't and now you do. It's pretty much, yeah. And then these are some shots of my kids that I'm not going to show you because they'll be pissed at me. I won't do that. There's some wonderfully, okay, parents, when you find embarrassing pictures that still make you laugh, you may not necessarily flash them to the world, but you keep them in your own photo album because they make you go. Remember that time our daughter tried to pretend that she hadn't gotten in the cookie jar and she was denying everything, but she had chocolate smeared all over her face? And we took a picture of that. Remember that? Yeah, those things. Those pictures. But I'm going to put them in a baggie to keep them safe because, holy, that picture of my grandmother with her 2 daughters, i.e. my mom and my Aunt Betty, is incredibly cool. I've seen some pictures of my mom from when she was in high school, and she was cute. She was cute. But yeah, I've never seen a picture of the 3 of them together, that era. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's my mom, probably 10 or 12 years old, somewhere there. Yeah. I'm tired. I took a power nap. I was trying to adjust my schedule to get up early and all that, so my sleep is all over the place. True story. I just want to pop on, give an update, health check. I'm little bit of anxiety, no panic attacks today, but I do have that other shoe feeling. Because we had a lot of. There's definitely something in the air. Sammy, my God, stop that. I don't know how to sew, but I can try and have Mom stitch you up. That'll peel paint. But yeah, I mean, we're about to trying to go into selling a house mode, and I still feel like I'm going to be getting a phone call regarding my dad. You know. But again, I'm going to have that feeling until I do get that phone call. You know, I've had 2 nurses and a doctor in the past like 3 to 6 months that have basically, they haven't stated that he's not going to make it through the year, but they've hinted at the idea of be ready, because the chances of him seeing 2027 are pretty slim. That kind of, you know, there's kind of a, not really a schedule, because dementia doesn't have a schedule exactly, but there are, you know, expected time frames based on the different phases of the disease. And yeah, you know, he's in the last phase, which is 1 to 2 years, and he's been in it about a year and a half. Welcome to math, right? So, you know, I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna get that phone call until I get that phone call. And I'm at peace with it, just because I know his quality of life is ridiculously non-existent. And this may sound awful, I've already cried a lot over the past 3 years, and I'm sure it's going to hit me like a brick, but I've kind of already done a lot of my mourning. And I read that this is a pretty normal feeling with people that are like caregivers for, you know, people that are terminal and whatnot. You start to get that fatigue, and you don't want them dead. You know, I want them dead. But you start kind of being very okay with the idea of, just because it's wearing on you, it's wearing on them, and you look at what they've become and you're like, how are you enjoying any of this? You know what I mean? If you were a dog or a cat, we would have put you down months ago. I mean, it's true. Dog or a cat, most vets would be like, it's time. It's time to do it, you know. We do it with an injection. He won't feel anything. He's just going to drift to sleep and then be gone. You know, and we've been through that with Jinx recently, so, you know what I mean? It's like, with animals, we do that. We don't do it with people. Other than Dr. Kevorkian, who got in trouble for that. But I guess there are some places where there is like an assisted. I think like California, Oregon, just researching things because I research things. Apparently there is like a state certified, you can do that here kind of thing, which is interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. Obviously they make it, you know, it's more medical and humane and all that. But it's interesting. But yeah, it's coming, and I'm okay with it. You know, I say before it happens. After, I'm going to be devastated, because that's, you know, that'll mean that both my parents are gone. It's kind of a big deal, right? And then I'll yell at both of them while I'm de-hoarding the place instead of just my mom. I do. Every time I find some kind of new, Pam, I'm going to use the word, any new batch of Mashivana, I will say things like, see, Mom, this stuff is garbage, and it probably was garbage when you guys acquired it and stored it. It has no resale value. What are you doing? Why did you keep this? You know, those kind of things. This is the stuff that's going to make me have to clean up after your mess for another 5 years. This is what I begged you to not do to me. You know, that kind of thing. We have very long chats throughout the day. It's nice. We talk more now than we have in years. It's kind of one-sided, really, now that I think about it. Yeah, it's kind of a one-sided conversation. I did have a vendor like a month ago. I felt bad, but then again, I didn't feel bad. They called me on my cell phone, and I pretty much answer any call that comes in because I never know when it's going to be one of those kind of calls. And they were insisting that they wanted to talk to my mom over, you know, for some kind of sales or business matter or whatnot. I was trying to figure out if it was debt collection or something, which it shouldn't be. Everything's pretty much paid off. But they weren't really allowing me to extol and explain the situation. And it was kind of that whole, you know, well, we really need to speak with her. And I finally was just like, well, I know where you can find her. And they were like, okay, well, great, where? And I told them the cemetery name, and the word cemetery is on the end of the title of it. And they were like, wait, are you, I'm like, yeah, no, she died in May of last year. I'm her son, kind of power of attorney, executor, all that kind of stuff. See, do you actually want to tell me, is this something legitimate, or are you just trying to sell her something? We're very sorry for your loss. Click. Okay. You're trying to sell something. You're trying to sell something and you just thought that I was the gatekeeper. You're gonna get her on the phone. You gotta get past that guy. Okay. I've seen that Twilight Zone episode. We can just put the phone on the ground and you can talk to her all day long. It's the closest I can get to dialing direct for you. I mean, I'm gonna have to drive there. It's gonna take me about 10 minutes, but you know, we can do it. Alternative, do you have a Ouija board? I don't really mess with those myself. You know, I think they're a little dangerous because you never know, you know, who's connecting your call, kind of thing. And some of the operators can be a little shifty. But I mean, if you're okay with it, then, you know, put a quarter in the planchette and see what happens. That's what that middle part's for, right? You put the quarter in there. Pretty sure it's... I'm kidding, I know how they work. But I don't touch them. A lot of things I'll mess with. Those, nope. And yes, we are still Marvin on a roller coaster. Speaking of, saw the trailer for Coyote vs. Acme. Okay. I'm interested. Looks like fun. And the new Resident Evil movie looks interesting too. I definitely feel like they're going with like an Outbreak kind of vibe because he's just a regular dude, it looks like. You know what I mean? It's not like, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine. It's dorky organ transplant guy. Huh? Looks like he's about as combat efficient as like the characters from the first Silent Hill movies or games. You can't really shoot straight, and you stumble after running 30 feet. Clearly never served. What are these monsters? I'm going to hit them with this wooden plank. And it's not me making fun of the wooden plank. The wooden plank and the lead pipe both. Once you get the feel for them, very effective. I personally like the lead pipe. The wood plank is decent, but it's really slow. The wind up, the pit, nope, still winding up. He's still winding up. Oh, and there's the pitch. You know what I mean? It's that kind of slowness. It's like some of the two-handed weapons in a fantasy game. Your warhammers and your battle axes and stuff like that. They can be a little slow. I'm more of a main gouge fighter myself. But, Florentine fencing weapons. Yeah, I fence. Been a while, but give me a couple of rapiers and I got this. Or an epee, which sounds like a hairpiece, but it's not. I really like foils, that whole lack of a blade thing. Sure, I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can make sure someone gets the point, but I don't like the lack of versatility with them, It's just like a long metal toothpick. Much rather have a rapier. A little bit more substance to it, This is me. Or even, Nodachi or Katana. The Asian weapons, they work fine. I've actually got a couple of Nodachis that are really, love them. Gotta love the samurai. But anyway, probably not going to worry about taking a shower. I'll take one when I get up. Possibly just by walking outside. It's going to fall over. I do have a feeling that when Pix gets up, because she was planning on getting up at like 7 or 8, if it is in fact 84%, 79%, she may look out the window and go, well, shit. We're not mowing the lawn. But anyway. Nope, didn't freeze. Still not AI. It's like 18 things going through my brain all at the same time. I told my mother-in-law, I keep wanting to call her my mom because I kind of do call her my mom, Hopefully that's not too weird. But I told her, I'm like, not nearly as sharp as I once was. I've got like some brain fog. I don't know if it's like COVID residue or. And she's like, honey, the amount of stress you've been under the past 3 years, that's enough to give you brain fog. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's right. She's like, once this is over, and you know what I mean by that, you're going to be fine. You're going to bounce back to where you were. I'm like, I kind of hope so, but what that means is kind of, yeah. She's like, I know, but it's going to happen. I'm like, yeah, I know. To which she followed up, I mean, I'm not going to die. I'm going to live to like 200. If there was anyone tenacious enough to do it, it would be my mother-in-law. She's pretty fierce. But I don't think that'll happen either. She's getting closer to 80, and we're starting to get a little worried about her, Because even she's starting to realize she's not as indestructible as she likes to put on. So, when they start admitting it, that's when you start getting worried. My dad, very much in denial about all that, but some of that was the dementia. My mom, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, definitely realizing, I don't know that I have much time, We had some talks like that. Which made it even more infuriating when she started keeping secrets from me, because I'm like, we've had this talk. You know that, and I'm not saying you're dropping dead tomorrow, but you cannot keep secrets from me right now. We don't know if you've got 2 years or a week. Don't do this. But she was like, there's some things that I want to keep to myself. And it's like, yeah, I need to know, like the financial situations. If I'm going to have to take over, I need to know that stuff. You can't keep me in the dark on that. She's like, I can, because it's my business. It's like, okay. But there was cognitive issues going on at that point, because she was feeding into the idea that Dad had given her that we were stealing from them and breaking in and stuff. So she kept going back and forth on it. When one of our burglaries, when the items from one of our burglaries kept reappearing in the house over the next month after we had broken in, one of our conversations was, I'm beginning to think that you didn't break in. Oh, okay, good. What makes you come to that conclusion, which I can tell you is the right one? Well, some of the things that went missing, I'm finding now. And they're in weird places. I'm like, okay, yeah, because Dad moved them and blamed us for it. Well, your father wouldn't do that. Oh, no, he did that. He did do that. Well, he maintains it was the burglar. Yeah, okay. I know you don't want to hear this, but Dad has dementia. No, that's not what the doctor called it. And again, we realized later on it was because the doctors weren't being given all the information because Mom was hiding it. Remember how I said the past 3 years have been kind of a pain in the ass? That's why they were bringing charges up on you, Mom. We're a month-long Jerry Springer special. My hand to God. And the Scoutmaster. So anyway, hug your parents. Squeeze them till they just can't breathe anymore. Don't do that, I'm kidding. Hug your kids. Make it a great day.